A person's true greatness is not measured by their wealth, their background, or even their current circumstances. It is measured by the quality of their thoughts. This timeless truth has been proven again and again through the lives of extraordinary individuals such as Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, and Jeff Bezos. These people were not born successful. They became successful because they first learned to think differently. Napoleon Hill, in his famous book Think and Grow Rich, wrote a powerful line that has inspired millions around the world. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. In simple words, what you consistently think about is what you eventually become. But if this idea is true, a difficult question arises. Why do so many people struggle to succeed? Why do millions of individuals spend their entire lives trapped in poverty, disappointment, and frustration? Do they not think about their future? Do they fail to recognize their own hidden abilities and talents? Today's story will answer these questions. Along the way, it will teach you a powerful lesson about life, success, and self-belief. You will also learn some new vocabulary to improve your English skills. So stay with us until the end. I promise you that this story will be worth your time. Once upon a time, in a crowded and noisy railway station, there lived a beggar. Every day, from early morning until late evening, he sat on the platform, surviving on whatever coins passengers gave him as they waited for their trains. His life followed the same routine day after day. Stretch out his hand, ask for alms, receive a few coins, and wait for the next train to arrive. People walked past him in a hurry. Some ignored him completely, some dropped a small coin without even looking at his face, and others looked at him with pity. This was the only life he had ever known, and over time he had accepted it as his fate. One afternoon, as the beggar was sitting in his usual spot, he noticed a man stepping onto the platform. This man stood out from the crowd. He was well-dressed, wearing a clean, expensive suit. His shoes were polished, his posture confident, and his face calm. Everything about him reflected success and authority. The beggar thought to himself, "This man must be very wealthy. If I ask him for money, he will surely give me a large amount." With hope in his heart, the beggar stood up, walked toward the man, and stretched out his hand. But instead of reaching into his pocket, the businessman looked directly into the beggar's eyes and asked a question that completely caught him off guard. "Do you always take from others?" The man asked calmly, "Have you ever given anything to anyone?" The beggar froze. No one had ever spoken to him like this before. He was confused and slightly frightened. After a moment, he replied honestly, "Sir, I am just a beggar. I survive by asking for alms. I have nothing to give to anyone." The businessman smiled gently and said, "If you truly believe you have nothing to give, then you also have no right to ask for anything. I am a businessman, and I believe in exchange. If you can offer me something, I can offer you something in return. But if you have nothing to give, then I cannot give you anything either." After saying this, the businessman turned away, boarded his train, and disappeared. The beggar remained standing there, shocked and silent. The man had not insulted him. He had not spoken harshly, yet his words struck deeper than any insult ever could. Again and again, the beggar replayed those words in his mind. If you want to receive, you must first give. No one had ever told him this before. He realized that perhaps this was the reason people never gave him much money. He offered them nothing in return. That night, the beggar lay awake on the cold ground, unable to sleep. His mind was filled with thoughts he had never had before. What can I give? I am just a beggar. I own nothing. 2 days passed. During this time, the beggar did something unusual. He did not ask anyone for money. He simply sat at the station, thinking deeply. On the third day, while sitting near the railway tracks, he noticed something beautiful. A small patch of wildflowers was blooming nearby. Their bright colors stood out against the dusty ground. As he looked at them, an idea suddenly came to his mind. What if I stop only taking, he thought. What if I offer something in return? With determination, he walked over, carefully picked a handful of flowers, and returned to his usual spot. That day, when someone handed him a coin, he smiled and offered him a flower in return. To his surprise, people gladly accepted the flowers. Some smiled warmly, some thanked him. A few even stopped for a moment to admire the simple beauty of what they received. As the days passed, something remarkable happened. More people began giving him money, and he noticed an important pattern. Whenever he had flowers, people gave generously. But when he ran out of flowers, the donations decreased. It's true, he realized. People enjoy receiving something in return. One day, as he was offering flowers in exchange for money, he saw a familiar face. It was the same businessman sitting inside a train. Filled with excitement, the beggar rushed toward him. "Sir," he said eagerly, "today I have something to give you. If you give me money, I will give you flowers in return." The businessman smiled, handed him some money, and accepted the flowers. "You have understood the true value of exchange," the businessman said. "Today, you are no longer just a beggar. You have become a businessman." The train began to move, and the businessman waved goodbye. The former beggar stood there, thinking deeply. "Am I really a businessman now?" he asked himself. Suddenly, everything became clear. "I know the secret of success," he realized. "People are not giving me money out of pity anymore. They are paying for what I offer." That day, he made a bold decision. He left the railway station and never returned as a beggar again. 6 months later, at the same railway station, two well-dressed men met. They shook hands politely. One of them looked at the other with curiosity. "Do I know you?" he asked. The other man smiled and replied, "Yes, we've met twice before, right here at this station." Suddenly, the man's eyes widened in surprise. "Wait, you were the beggar!" "The one I refused to give money to and later bought flowers from." The former beggar laughed warmly. "Yes, that was me. But today I run a successful flower business and I'm traveling to expand it." The businessman was amazed. "That's incredible. What changed your life?" The flower seller smiled and said, "You taught me one of life's greatest lessons. We only receive when we give." That day, I realized I was never truly a beggar. I was a businessman all along. I just needed to see myself that way. The two men shook hands again, now as equals, and boarded their trains toward their futures. Life is shaped by how we see ourselves. If you believe you are weak, you will remain weak. If you believe you are small, your life will stay small. But when you recognize your inner strength and potential, everything begins to change. So never limit yourself. See yourself as capable, valuable, and successful. Because when your thoughts change, your future changes too.